What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today I've got a story time for you that I think is pretty hilarious that a subscriber sent in about the time he caught this dude who was like flexing the fact that he played with girls, simping and paying them to play with him instead. Yeah, basically this guy's paying girls to game with them and then like using it to flex on people, and honestly that's pretty large of an L. Regardless, it should be a pretty fun story time, so before we get into it, be sure to press the like button, otherwise no joke, no scam, you're gonna simp this hard, and without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so this subscriber that we're gonna name Alex was a pretty good gamer, you know. He's probably like the skill level to the point where all of his IRL friends would consider him like the best player they knew. He wasn't a pro or anything, like he wasn't making money to game, but he was pretty good. And back when I was in school, gaming was still like kinda lame. And I guess it had gotten way more popular since then. Everybody plays games now. But that being said, there was another kid at school who was constantly flexing about the fact that he was like gaming with all these gamer girls, you know, and how he was just better than everybody for doing that. And sure enough, dude, his entire friends list was like these 20-year-old gamer girls with Twitch accounts, you know, and he would be queued up with them every day, gaming with them. And everybody was like, okay, that's kind of weird. It was at the point where everybody was about to graduate, so all the kids had jobs, they like, you know, had some money and whatnot. But he swore that, you know, he hadn't paid them to game with them, he wasn't subscribed to them on Twitch, anything like that. Regardless, because they were getting ready to graduate high school, obviously a lot of people are starting to talk about what they want to do with their life, like if they want to, you know, go to college, if they don't, that type of stuff. And this guy was always talking about how he was going to be moving in with this, like, girl that he was dating and played games with, and he was going to go pro in the game he played. And, you know, he basically had contracts on the line from a bunch of different organizations, and it was going to be super easy for him to go pro. And listen, man, I'm not saying that, like, going pro in a game is as hard as going pro in the NFL or anything, but it definitely wasn't as easy as this guy was saying it was gonna be. And even though nobody really cared about this guy being pro or his friends list or anything, it was just starting to get annoying because he would talk about it all the time. The game that the guy was playing with these girls the most, though, was Rocket League, which is, you know, it's a pretty fun game, but it also just happened to be the one that Alex was really good at. And one day, he gets queued up and completely by chance, like randomly, he ends up in a game with one of the girls that the guy is like the best friends with, you know? And, you know, just by chance, Alex pops off, he wins the game, he scores a bunch of goals, and then they invite him to the party to queue up with them so they can keep winning, right? And they play a few more games, they win a few more, and they end up adding each other on Xbox. You know, they're gonna play later, it'll be fun. And the next day at school, Alex is just sitting there minding his business, and the kid who's like always flexing walks up to him and is like, hey, why do you have my friend added on Xbox, you know? And is just acting crazy paranoid about the fact that like this guy had added them. And Alex in his head is like, alright, that's a little weird that he's so upset that I added these people on Xbox, but hey, whatever, I don't really know what's going on. And he kind of explains what happened, and as soon as he explained what happened, the kid seems really relieved and then just kind of like gets angry again and threatens Alex. And he's like, if you ever play with her again, I will do everything I can to ruin your life. Like, you leave her alone, do you know what I mean? And Alex is like, no, I don't know what you mean, dude. Like, what are you talking about? I'm not trying to, like, steal her away from you. We were just playing Rocket League, bro. It's not that deep. And it obviously backfires because Alex decides at that point that he's gonna have to play with her again. Like, I'm sorry, dude, but I feel like threatening somebody is actually one of the best ways to make sure they do what you ask them not to do. Maybe it's just me, but if you're like, hey, don't go over there and touch that button, like, now I feel like I have to go touch the button. Like, I'm sorry. Anyways, at that point, though, Alex knows that there's something going on. He feels like he needs to get to the bottom of it. So that night, he gets home and he sends the girl a message and he's like, hey, do you want to play Rocket League? And she replies and she says yes, and they get into a party together and they're just kind of gaming, and he's kind of nervous to talk to her about it because, like, on the off chance that, you know, they are best friends, it's gonna look weird. And he doesn't want to look like a stalker who's like, so I went through your friends list and da-da-da-da-da. But whatever, he finally works up the courage and he goes, alright, so I know you're really good friends with Andy, right? And she just goes silent. You know, she doesn't really say anything and she giggles and goes, oh, are you one of Andy's friends? You seemed so cool. Like, totally implying that anybody who would be friends with Andy is not on the same cool scale as other people, you know? And he goes, no, I don't know him super well, but like, I thought you guys were best friends, because he tells everyone at school that you guys are like really close and he's dating one of your friends and you guys are gonna all move in together and go pro. And she literally starts laughing on the mic and she's like, what are you talking about, dude? Like, that's just not true. Are you crazy? I guess he had gone into like one of their Twitch chats, right? And started just, you know, talking to them and whatnot and like begging to play with them. So they started playing with him and he started like paying them to play with him. Like, he would basically be like, I'm gonna donate this amount of bits and subs, but you have to play with me, da 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 da. And so these girls were playing with him, but like, because he was basically paying them too. Do you know what I mean? And right as she says that, it all clicks in Alex's head. He's like, oh, the reason he was so upset about me being on her friends list was because he thought that I had found out about this. So he just kind of banks the information, you know, and he starts telling her about like everything this guy's been saying about how he's dating this girl on his friends list and da 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 da. And she's like, no, they're not dating. He also pays her to game with him. And Alex is just kind of like, oh my gosh. And so he decides to mess with Andy a little bit. And so he takes a picture of the party chat and them playing together and posts it on his story. And within like 1 minute of it being up, Andy takes the bait and he's like, I told you not to play with her. What are you doing? Like, get out of that party. Keep in mind, these guys aren't friends. It's just like a random dude trying to tell him who to be in the party chat with. And he replies and he's like, no, I'm not going to leave him alone. And Andy replies to that and is like, then I'm going to ruin your life, which once again, probably not the best idea. And that's when Alex sends like him a message basically saying, I wouldn't do that if I were you. And I don't know if it was just the ego or him being upset, but Andy's like, no, it's too late. I'm going to ruin your life. So whatever, the next day at school, everyone's just kind of standing there. And Andy walks up to Alex and is like, you need to stay away from my girlfriend. She called you creepy, da-da-da-da-da, saying all this stuff. And, you know, everybody's like, oh, what do you mean? What do you mean? And Andy starts basically making up this story that Alex was, like, stalking his girlfriend on Xbox and wouldn't leave her alone and was, like, always spamming her to join and whatnot. And Alex just gets a smile on his face, bro, because he knows that this dude has just earned his comeuppance. He was going to let it slide. He just wasn't going to say anything, you know. But now that this guy's trying to make him look bad and spread a rumor, it's like, all right, I'm going to tell everybody that you pay girls to game with you. So he just drops the bombshell. He goes, dude, she's not your girlfriend. None of them are your friends. I talked to them yesterday, and they told me that you've been paying them to game with you. And he just freezes up. He's like, that's not true. That's not true. And he goes, it's not? And he had gotten the girl he was gaming with to send him a message on Xbox basically being like, yeah, this guy, you know, pays us to game with him. Here's like the transactions on Twitch where he had donated subs and bits, like all this stuff, you know, messages of him saying that he was going to donate more. They just have to keep gaming with him. Like, basically caught red-handed. Do you know what I mean? And he's just like, no, dude, those are fake. You faked that. He's like, oh yeah, I faked this. I faked it. Then why did you come at me yesterday and tell me not to game with them? And he's like, well, yeah, and he just really has no excuse, bro, because he's busted. He was trying to get him to stay away so he wouldn't find out that he was like paying these girls to game with him. And listen, man, what I really don't understand about this dude, whatever, like you want yourself a gamer girlfriend, whatever, I guess, by all means, personal preference is personal preference. But like, dude, how do you pay someone to hang out with you, man, and not just like realize that that's a ginormous L? Oh, dude, no, this person's really sick. I'm just paying them to hang out with me because of the economic value of their time. Like, bro, it's not your friend if you have to be paying them to hang out with you, and it's especially not your girlfriend if you have to be paying her to hang out with you, dude. He's like telling everybody he's gonna move in with this girl he's dating. Meanwhile, she's like, yeah, he's paying me $1,000 a month to even have him added on the Xbox. The kid had basically just been taking all the money from his job and like spending it on getting these people to game with him. And what I don't understand is like, whatever, you want to play with your favorite YouTuber, your favorite Twitch streamer, I get it, but like, why go tell people that it's your girlfriend when it's just not? Oh yeah, bro, I'm definitely 100% dating Scarlett Johansson, bro, for sure. Don't ask her. Like, don't go talk to her at all, you know. You don't want to ask for proof or anything. That would be ridiculous. Just believe me when I say that, like, I'm dating Scarlett Johansson. All right, guys, I'm going to interrupt the story time for just 1 second. On screen now, I actually have a PlayStation gift card. For those of you that don't know, I give away a gift card in every single video I post here on this channel as a way to say thank you to you guys for supporting me and watching the videos. So, if you haven't haven't already, subscribe, turn on those notifications, and if you already are sub with noties on, I'd appreciate you maybe pressing the like button. And on that note, I'll shut up and get back to the video. Thank you. Anyways, he's floundering, and now everybody kind of starts to be like, yeah, I mean, that would make more sense, bro, da-da-da-da-da, and everybody's kind of starting to clown him a bit. And at that point, he just does what I think he thinks the best move would be, and he's be like, you don't know that that's true, dude, you don't know that. And he's like, bro, come on, like, come on, dude, like, I literally just showed you a message of one of the girls that you're besties with saying that you're not and that you've been paying her to game with you. Like, what do you mean? And at that point, the anger comes over him, bro. I think Andy had just had enough of being embarrassed, so instead of continuing to argue, he just starts swinging on Alex. And Alex kind of ducks the first punch because obviously it's pretty obviously coming. And when he ducks it, he's kind of like, oh yeah, definitely didn't pay him to hang out with you. That's why you're fighting me. And Andy's just like so pissed that he starts to do the like, you know when people just get so mad, they start just making random noises. And everybody's kind of like, oh, still clowning him for paying everybody to game with them. People just shouting stuff from the crowd. And he kind of ducks another punch. And at that point, the teacher comes over and breaks it up. And if you noticed in the storytelling, I was very careful to point out that he didn't swing on him. Alex didn't hit back, and he knew that, like, the way the schools work are really stupid. Obviously, we talked about that earlier this week. And so when they go to the office and they pull up the footage and they just see him kind of ducking everything and the other kids swinging on him, they can't suspend Alex because Alex wasn't the one that had done anything wrong. So on top of getting exposed to the dude who's paying girls to game with him, just general simpage, and trying to flex on everybody, the kid gets suspended, but Alex doesn't. So he manages to get himself and just himself in trouble, like an absolute genius. But on top of that, he now has the reputation of the dude who was like paying people to game with him for some reason. And as I said, just kind of weird to be paying people to be your friend, bro. I don't know how you do that and like just be chilling at home, not feeling bad about it. But hey, to each their own. Moral of the story though, definitely don't be paying people to be your friend and game with you and then telling everyone that like you're dating them. I don't know, bro. Seems like a pretty easy moral to avoid. But yeah, on that note, guys, I think that's gonna do it for the video. I just thought this was a pretty cringy story I wanted to share with y'all. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comments section down below what you thought. Subscribe if you're new. If you really want to support the channel, use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. It gets you a discount. It helps me out. My podcast, The Scuffed Cast, is down below. And if you look on screen now, you'll see the coolest merch to ever exist by far, and if you look in the description, you can get it, so be sure to go do that. And yeah, on that note, guys, that'll do it. I'll see you guys tomorrow with another video. Don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and I'm out. Peace.